Good morning. After months of political deadlock, rival parties come to a consensus on a special bill investigating the Sewol ferry disaster, but bereaved family members say no. With less than a month away, preparations for the 2014 Asian Games are being completed, and Kim Chan-ju brings us a closer look at what's underway. From one tiny store to a mega chain of restaurants, this company is the result of one innovative mind and taste buds. Electric scooters to scoot you around town, eco-friendly and efficient. This ride is what's hot on Hot Items on Korea Today, Wednesday, August 20th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today on this Wednesday morning. I'm Kim Min-jung alongside Kim Young and Jin-ju.
Good morning. Now, did you guys know that yesterday was the International Orangutan Day?
Orangutan Day. We were so busy with the Pope, we almost missed this day. This is ridiculous. Tell us about this
now,
day.
This day was designated to bring international attention to orangutans that are now added to the list of the world's 25 most endangered primates in recent years. And a special event took place at a theme park here in Korea, marking this special day for orangutans.
All right, and apparently one was born about a month back, and this is the first birth of an orangutan here in Korea, the first successful breeding, and this is a cute wonder, isn't he?
It's a she.
It's a she. It's a baby girl. It's a female orangutan.
I didn't have time to check.
And starting today, they're accepting proposals or the suggestions for a new name. So how about we come up with something? Orangi or orange.
That's nice.
Orange.
Okay.
Obogi.
Okay.
Meaning
Some
good
suggestions
luck.
Going with
there.
that, right? Well, since this is the first Korean orangutan, I would call him Korea Orangutango.
Yeah, that's a lame one,
How's that?
but yeah, sure.
There's a lot of monkeying around over at the Everland, and I'm sure they're all happy, but we're going to get to our first headline for this morning. After weeks of wrangling, rival parties struck a deal Tuesday to pass a bill aimed at an independent investigation into the Sewol ferry disaster, but was quickly rejected by bereaved family members of the victims. The ruling Saenuri party conceded to giving the committee charged with handling the Sewol ferry investigation special prosecutorial powers as demanded by the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy, but with 2 of the 7-member committee being recommended by the ruling party. The family members rejected the deal, demanding a renegotiation, saying the committee must remain independent of the ruling party. They added that a meeting amongst the victims' families will be held in Ansan shortly to discuss the matter further, and that hunger strikes will continue until an acceptable agreement is reached.
President Park Geun-hye says she hopes that North Korea will accept a set of proposals made last week to build trust and improve inter-Korean relations. In a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, President Park said the 2 Koreas will have to take small steps towards achieving unification together. Marking the National Liberation Day this past Friday, the president proposed that Seoul and Pyongyang expand cross-border projects, including joint management of the rivers and forests along the border and preparations for the 70th anniversary of independence from Japan's colonial rule next year. And also during the cabinet meeting, President Park stated that the second half of 2014 should be focused on reviving the economy so as to break from the prolonged low-growth economic cycle. She also asked the National Assembly to pass the pending bills, including the government reform bill aimed at improving safety infrastructure.
The 2014 Asian Games are set to kick off in Incheon in less than a month, with North Korea expected to participate. A delegation from North Korea's Olympic Committee arrived late Tuesday. 8 North Korean officials, including Yang Sung-ho, the president of the Korean University of Physical Education in Pyongyang, arrived from a flight from Beijing, all smiles but refusing interviews. During his stay, Yang will give a keynote speech and a presentation at a pre-games event on Wednesday. The delegation will tour the main stadium and the athletes' village before leaving on Friday. Around 150 North Korean athletes are expected to take part in the Incheon Asian Games, which runs from September 19th through October 4th.
So we're now just about a month away from the opening of the 2014 Incheon Asian Games. 23,000 people, including over 9,700 athletes from 45 countries, will take part in this biggest sports event in Asia, and last-minute preparations are underway. Let's connect live with our Kim Chen-ju for more on how the final touches are being made. Good morning, Chen-ju.
Good morning, Jinju. I'm at the Incheon Asian main stadium, the main venue for the upcoming Incheon Asian Games. As you can see behind me, a huge stadium of 113,620 square meters with 61,818 seats. The construction cost for this huge stadium was 490 billion won, or $481 million. The construction began in June 2011 and it just wrapped up in last April. Now, as you can see, the organizing committee of Asian Games obviously very busy making final touches, like building this huge stage for the opening ceremony behind me. And the whole city of Incheon is also making final preparations. So let's take a closer look at what's in store for the Incheon Asian Games. The upcoming Incheon Asian Games will run from September 19th to October 4th for 16 days. Under the slogan "Diversity Shines Here," all 45 member states of the Olympic Council of Asia have registered for the Games, which will feature 36 sports. Incheon is the third South Korean city to host the Asian Games after Seoul in 1986 and Busan in 2002. The Asiad torch led at New Delhi arrived at Incheon port from India on August 13th. Prior to this, on August 12th, the lighting ceremony for Korea's Asiad torch was held on Manisan Mountain at Ganghwa-do Island off the Incheon coast, and it arrived at Incheon Asian main stadium just yesterday.
We lit the torch for the upcoming Asian Games, hoping for all participating countries to unite as one with Asia's history and tradition.
For the 17th Asian Games, 49 competition venues will be used. 10 feature in the 6 cities of Gyeonggi-do Province, while another 2 are in Chungju and Seoul. Out of these, 16 new stadiums are added in Incheon City.
Renowned construction designers from home and abroad were commissioned to design new stadiums. It was important for new venues to maintain a modern style, but also to balance themselves with the surrounding greenery to be utilized by the public after the Asian Games. Furthermore, Incheon Para Games is scheduled to take place right after the Incheon Asian Games. So in that regard, we received barrier-free certification to minimize any inconveniences for the disabled.
Sonhak Stadium opened in February this year. It will stage handball, hockey and boxing matches during the Asian Games. Undergoing continuous inspections, the 10,235-seater venue is equipped with sports facilities, including an outdoor stadium, indoor ice rink and amenities.
Our stadium is focusing on facility management ahead of the Asian Games. We have also drawn up a safety manual and we conduct regular emergency drills to ensure the safety of athletes and visitors.
Also, the Athletes Village and Media Village will open on the 5th of next month, offering accommodations for 15,000 members of athletes and media people. Once the Asian Games kick off, Incheon Metropolitan City aims to attract up to 2 million domestic and foreign visitors and is striving to effectively secure a sufficient number of accommodations. Approximately 7,300 accommodations are available in Incheon, while some 6,800 hotels will be prepared for guests in nearby Seoul and Gyeonggi-do area.
Gyeonggi District in Incheon has been conducting facility inspections over the past 3 different occasions, along with quality evaluation and sanitation inspection on 78 tourist accommodations in the area. These accommodations are being inspected according to a facility and equipment standard, while lower-rated accommodations receive Facility Improvement Fund and are eligible to apply for a Certificate of Excellence.
For the successful hosting of the Asian Games, Incheon Metropolitan City launched a security unit where police will be in charge of safety issues and traffic control.
So, Chenju, we've looked at the new stadium's accommodations. Are there any other preparations on the way?
That's right, Inju. Starting from today, the Incheon Metropolitan City will run its operations room to fine-tune the details of current situations and to draw effective measures. As for today's schedule, the city will unveil the detailed plan for the direction of the opening ceremony. It will be directed by a renowned Korean filmmaker, Im Gon-taek, and a total of 23 billion US dollars or 22.1 million US dollars as 23 billion won or 22.1 million US dollars has been allotted for two ceremonies. Main appearance for the opening ceremony include soprano Cho Soo-mi, K-pop stars JYJ and Psy, and of course actor Kim Soo-hyun, star from the hit drama My Love from the Start. Over to you, Jinju.
Definitely looking forward to what these directors have come up with. Thank you, Chenju, for that report. That was our Kim Tae-ju reporting live in Incheon on this year's Asian Games. Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. Now, as you heard earlier on in the program, yesterday afternoon, the ruling and opposition parties reached a deal following weeks of bipartisan wrangling over the Seoul bill. But just a couple hours later, the families of the disaster victims flat out rejected the tentative agreement, showing great dissatisfaction. Almost all the papers carrying this issue, so we'll go ahead and look at it first here on Gyeongyang Shinmun. Now, the headline reads, rival parties renegotiated Seoul bill, but bereaved families oppose. So the families of the victims rejected the deal reached by rival parties yesterday to pass the special bill aimed at uncovering the truth behind this maritime disaster. And as it is noted right here, in Tuesday's deal, the rival parties agreed that the ruling party would appoint its share of the panel members, 2 of the 7, only after seeking approval by the opposition party as well as the family members of the victims. However, the deal was met with opposition. A family member said that the Committee for the Bereaved Families had given guidelines to the ruling Saenuri Party's head Kim Moo-sung earlier yesterday morning, but that those demands were not recognized in the deal. Now, the situation is expected to further delay the passage of the bill. And now moving on to another issue here on 중앙일보. And this one is about the troublesome situation that Korea's manufacturing industry is facing. The title says, China export zero, Korea's manufacturing business loses its way. So exactly 2 weeks ago, I talked about how Chinese smartphone makers have been in the spotlight after sharp increase in sales to even overtake Samsung Electronics in the second quarter this year, claiming the #1 spot. Now, this story is about another Korean company, Kapro Corporation, that engages in the manufacture, sale, and export of caprolactam, ammonium sulfate, and other inorganic fertilizers here in Korea. Now, it says here in the subheadlines that this company used to be a top manufacturing business here, carrying a local market share of 88%. However, now the company has been pretty much downtrodden by China that it had to even shut down one of its factories. In fact, up until May of this year, Capro's export volume to China was flat out zero. And this is simply because China no longer wants to buy a lot of the Korean products that it used to buy. And now something on to a brighter side. For a switch of topics here on 조선일보, let's take a look at this one at the bottom close up. Now, this one is titled KTX Undersea Tunnel Project to Jeju Island being revived. So this is exciting news, if you will. It looks like a private enterprise is looking into reviving and thoroughly reviewing a plan to build an underwater tunnel for the KTX bullet train linking Seoul and Jeju Island by way of southern coastal cities. Now, it says in the subheadlines that POSCO Engineering and Construction announced yesterday that this project certainly does hold business value, as tourists visiting Jeju Island has surpassed the 10 million mark last year.
Now, if this plan is successfully pulled through, the so-called JTX will allow you to get to Jeju Island from Seoul in less than 2.5 hours. And finally, let's wrap with a look at the economy on the Korea Economic Daily. And it's this one here at the very bottom of the front page. And it's about the government's push for a regulation law reform that was announced just yesterday. The header reads, individual businesses can also request for easing of regulation. Now, we know that President Park Geun-hye has been pushing to lift or ease all but core regulations to help revitalize the local economy. And if we take a look at this list, it lists some of the main factors of the revision that includes introducing a cost-in, cost-out system, which would allow ministries to introduce new regulations only if they can abolish existing ones that are more expensive to implement. Now, the revision also includes what's called the gray zone removal system, which will be applied not only to enterprises, but also to individuals starting their own businesses. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for this Wednesday. And now coming up are the stock numbers from Tuesday.
The weather conditions in Seoul have been mild over the past couple of days, but the southern part of the Korean peninsula has been receiving a lot of rain these days.
Heavy rain, lots of damage being reported as well. And as for today's weather conditions and how the conditions are going to be around the peninsula, we're going to have to find out through Chun Song-cho.
She joins us from outdoors. Let's go over to her right now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. The conditions outside in Seoul are very comfortable under overcast skies. Yes, like you guys said, it's been raining on and off for the past week, and we have another nationwide rainfall coming in the forecast. Starting in the afternoon, torrential rains pouring down at over 30 millimeters are expected, especially around the central regions and the southern coast, with thunder and lightning. Some parts of the southern regions have already been facing heavy downpours for the past couple of days, so they may be more vulnerable to landslides and flooding. We're facing a lot of rainfall, even possibly up to 200 millimeters until tomorrow, so extra precaution is definitely needed. On the other hand, temperatures will remain relatively cool while the rain sticks around. And with that, let's take a closer look at the temperature readings. Midday highs hover around the upper 20s all across the country. Seoul, Gwangju, and Daejeon are the warmest at 27, while Gangneung stays the coolest at 25 degrees Celsius. Rain clouds will clear up just in time for the weekend, only to return again on Monday. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to you, Minjung.
And time now to check the international headlines we're following this Wednesday morning. Our Eunice Kim is standing by with those at the news center. Good morning to you, Eunice.
Good morning, Minjung.
A sigh of relief in Liberia. The 17 suspected Ebola patients who had fled their quarantine center this past weekend are now all accounted for.
That is the case, according to Liberia's Information Minister, Louis Brown. He said the last 17 who were missing were traced and turned themselves in to JFK Hospital in the capital. That's where they will undergo testing for the virus. He also reported the 3 infected African doctors who had been administered the last known doses of the experimental drug ZMapp were showing, quote, remarkable signs of improvement. Now, the information minister said a task force would be set up to go door to door to educate residents of the West Point neighborhood, the country's largest slum, about the risks of Ebola. The latest WHO update shows that Liberia once again registered the most number of new Ebola deaths over a 3-day period in the latter half of last week, with 53 new casualties. The overall Ebola death toll observed in the 4 West African states of Liberia, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria has topped the 1,200 mark. A 24-hour ceasefire extension on the Gaza Strip expired at 6 in the morning Korea time, with still no sight of its revival. Hours earlier, Israeli military had said it responded to fresh rocket fire from Gaza with airstrikes. Israeli officials said the first 3 rockets landed in open fields near Beersheba, where 2 others later intercepted over the Israeli city of Netivot. Now, spokesman to the Israeli Prime Minister Mark Regev called the rocket attack a grave and direct violation of the ceasefire as Israeli negotiators pulled out of Egypt, who refused to negotiate while under fire. Now, Hamas has denied sending rockets into Israel, this as the renewed Israeli airstrikes are said to have killed at least 1 child, while prompting thousands of Gazans to flee to UN shelters, according to eyewitnesses. Hospital officials in Gaza also told the AP that 7 children had been wounded.
And yet another night of demonstrations in the U.S. town of Ferguson in Missouri State. The protests turned violent and 31 people were arrested by the end of the night.
You're right. And in fact, the protests this time had remained without major incident until about 10 o'clock at night local time. But fierce clashes broke out near the area where the unarmed 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot by Ferguson police, identified as Darren Wilson, as well as skirmishes near a burned-out convenience store. Now, Captain Ron Johnson of the Missouri State Highway Patrol said a tiny minority of lawbreakers, his words there, caused the mayhem, setting to fires, throwing Molotov cocktails, and even firing at police. Some of the arrested hailed from as far away as New York and California, according to him. And he said police, who were heavily armed in riot gear, and you can see that in those pictures, responded with tear gas and stun grenades, but did not fire bullets this time. He also asked protesters to hold their peaceful demonstrations during daylight hours, when such quote-unquote criminals cannot hide behind them in the dark of night. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is said to arrive in Ferguson on this Wednesday to lead the federal government's probe on this shooting. And with that, we'll wrap your look at the global headlines we're following this morning.
And still ahead, so you think you know Korean foods, have had Ttoekbokki and Gimbap before, I'm sure, but not like this. School food takes these much-loved casual Hansik to a whole new level and hit it big. Find out how on Strike Gold.
Well, we're going to have to put that food on the back burner for now, because Im Yoon-hee joins us for a look at the 20th century in art, a very influential time and an evolutionary time. Good morning.
Good morning, Young. Right, so through the span of 100 or so years, we went from Impressionism to pop art. So very different styles, very different techniques. And so the Seoul Art Center is currently hosting an exhibition that gives you a tour through the 20th century art. Take a look.
The 20th century gave birth to modern art, a movement that contains some of the biggest and most influential movements in the history of art. From the beautiful and delicate paintings of Pierre-Auguste Renoir to the edgy and somewhat frightening works of Damien Hirst. A walk through pieces from the 20th century reveals the twists and turns that have led to today's world of art.
Renoir to Damien Hirst is a blockbuster exhibition that features 104 different original works from 53 leading artists of the 20th century.
Early art of the 20th century came on the tail end of the Impressionist, Realist, and Neoclassical movements. Works that sometimes capture soft edges, but also the reality of life. The Post-Impressionist movement then appeared, along with a string of other movements, revealing artists submerged in a need for something different. Fast forward in time, and the art world is now enveloped in sharp colors and eye-catching images. And it's not just with paintings. Artist Marguerite questions reality, and Dali questions perception with his unique sculptures. But it doesn't stop there. Pop art entered the playing field and became a game changer. Sharp contrasting images, lines, and edges became more frequent. Bright colors and odd combinations lined the walls of art. And these pioneering artists opened the doors to new ideas, expanding the boundaries, making it possible for many others to follow suit.
Damien Hirst is an artist who truly represents contemporary art. He was the first to use his spin art paintings, which led to the development of other new ideas and contemporary artworks.
Regardless of the movement and styles, the 20th century contained a range of different artists with different visions. And with just one stroll through a gallery, you can walk through 100 years of history.
These collaborative exhibitions, they definitely have a lot more to offer. It allows the person who's viewing these art pieces to view different forms of art in the contemporary world. But this one seems to set itself apart. Tell us about that.
Right. So I've really seen my share of exhibitions, but this one in particular was really interesting because it had so many different artists. And so these are all original works, and although they're not the most famous works from these artists, they still hold true to the artistic style of that particular artist. And so it was a very fun exhibition. In the interview, the curator mentioned that it's a blockbuster exhibition, and it really is. It really just gives you a look through all different types of art that you're going to encounter in the 20th century.
And of course, some of the original art pieces may reach sky-high prices, but at the same time, some of the not so well-known pieces, they are up for sale, aren't they?
Right. So this particular exhibition is actually all the works are for sale, and so this exhibition is being run by the Opera Gallery, which is an art dealer with locations around the world, and they really want to make art available for the public. And so this particular exhibition, you can pick up, you can start your art collection. Art is a great investment. And so the most expensive one there is a Monet valued at $10 million. And so it's a Monet, obviously, original Monet. It's going to be very expensive, but, a very good exhibition to go see. Not if you're just going to, you don't have to go buy them, but to check out the different types of works.
10 million, you say?
Right.
Pocket change.
Oh, yeah. No problem for you, Young, right?
All right. Thank you very much, Uni, for joining us today.
Pleasure.
All right, still ahead on Korea Today, we're going to look at some transportation, and scooters are the way to do it, and these are eco-friendly and efficient. Now, the spotlight is focused on these electric scooters these days. They're green, they're easy to maneuver, and they are stylish, as you'll see in our Hot Items corner.
Let's check the keywords that are trending now. The official uniforms for the upcoming Incheon Asian Games were revealed yesterday in a special ceremony with the models walking down the catwalk and all.
Right, and uniforms for various positions, including organizing committee officials, international judges, and award presenters, were all up on the runway. Let's go over to our Mi-sorang for more. Good morning, Mi-sorang.
Good morning, guys. That's right. Now, there were a dozen or so different uniform styles, but today I'm going to focus on 3 in particular. So whenever you see someone in these checkered navy suits, you'll know that they're the movers and shakers of the ASEAN because they're the OCA members. Very important. These orangey coral suits are for the international judges, and the beautiful ladies in the Korean traditional dress hanbok are the award presenters. The blue color is to reflect the blue waters of the port city Incheon, while the bell-shaped translucent arms continue the Taoist fairy theme that we saw during the torch lighting ceremony. So that was for the upcoming ASEAN. Now, another event that's just around the corner, one that's perhaps bigger than the ASEAN for most mom and dads, is the new school term. With a lot of kids going back to school soon, many related events were trending online, especially tips on how to best prepare your kids for a smooth, stress-free transition. And with a drier, cooler, and shorter summer than expected, manufacturers are having to deal with all the leftover stocks of summer-specific items, such as water toys and dehumidifiers. Meanwhile, the Korean Baduk or Go player Lee Se-do reclaims his Asian TV Cup after 5 years. This is his 3rd time winning the prestigious championship. And Korean director Kim Tae-yong and the beautiful Tang Wei remained high on the search rankings after they confirmed that they had officially tied the knot. So let me show you a snippet of their wedding invitation. So from just this, we don't know when and where the wedding was held, but a part of the Chinese text there says, we will walk together in love and respect for each other. Now, of course, the pair did have an informal wedding of sorts in Sweden this past July, which came to light after their friend tweeted about it. But in this formal ceremony held in Hong Kong, they had all of their family and friends present to witness the beautiful moment. And we wish the talented couple a very happy start to their new future together. And with that, it's a wrap for today's edition of your Daily News Sum Up.
Now, you've heard of Hansik, but you've also heard of Punsik. It's kind of a variety of different street food and snacks that we go to in between meals when we do feel that hunger.
That's right. Tteokbokki, Gimbap, and Ramen are some of the examples of Punsik. But there's a company that does Punsik, but on the red carpet.
Yep, and they have really re-innovated this I guess decades-old tradition, and Jessie Day joins us to tell us more on that.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jessie. Yes, good morning. Of course, we are talking about Punsik today, and one particular restaurant called School Food that is starting to revolutionize how people see it. They've created a new term they've coined casual Hansik, and this is something that's going on not only here in Korea, but spreading overseas as well. So why don't we take a look at how School Food is revolutionizing Punsik on this week's Strike Gold.
School us, Jessie.
A thin sheet of egg is prepared, then a kimbap is placed inside to create a roll. It looks like tteokbokki, but the color is quite different. Make way, common old kimbap and tteokbokki in the streets. It's now time for School Food's casual Hansik. Garosugil is one of the most expensive areas in Seoul in terms of real estate, and at the center of the area is the very first School Food restaurant. It's so popular, tourists travel across oceans to have a taste. Seated inside the luxurious and sophisticated restaurant, the patrons enjoy kimbap appear as if they're eating at a high-end restaurant. Making such high-quality snacks is the first and foremost goal of School Food. And that does look good.
It's modern and clean.
It's bite-sized, so it's convenient, and it's also delicious.
Replacing the red gochujang sauce we associate with tteokbokki is cream sauce. And instead of giant kimbap pieces that fill our mouths, cute and tiny bite-sized kimbap is served. All the menus served at School Food are fusion Korean food, or as they call it, casual Hansik.
I was originally a dance music singer. After I quit singing, I started a gimbap place with just 10 million won. I made the food in a small underground one room myself and delivered it myself too. That was the beginning of School Food.
A tiny kimbap place started out from an underground hole in the wall, but grew rapidly and named itself School Food in 2002. Today, it is a champion of the dining franchise industry, boasting of sales and store count rivaled by mid-sized firms.
2002?
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
It has, huh?
At each restaurant, a chef overlooks everything that goes on in the kitchen. The menu that gets the most attention in particular is the most popular menu of late, the mari.
Gimbap can be hard to eat because of its size and it falls apart easily, so we made smaller versions.
In order to keep the taste of the ingredients alive, they took a bold step to resolve much of it and made smaller rolls. These cute little rolls won over the hearts of female customers and led School Food to become the successful franchise it is today.
They make it look like a gourmet dish.
Yeah.
And with a name like Blooming Mari, looks like a French dish.
Right. Some strict rules are applied to the ingredients as well. The most basic ingredients for kimbap, dried lava, rice, and the soy sauce are all top-of-the-class Korean ingredients, grown or prepared just for School Food's use. Because of this, the price range had to be raised in comparison, but they were able to secure a different customer group and their explosive support. It's young consumers who want both good food and good style. School Food is also moving fast to become a global brand. Starting with a branch in LA opened in 2009, there are now a total of 8 locations opened abroad, each faring well and gaining popularity. 12 years after the founding, School Food's CEO Lee Sang-yu now spends more time in the office than in the kitchen. The next goal is to open a new branch in New York and to make way into the Chinese market. From store location to menu development, local events, and marketing strategies, there's nothing that doesn't go through Lee. Still, there's one place that Lee stops by every single day and has done so for the past 12 years. It's the kitchen. He says his life's task is to develop global casual Hansik that stays true to its identity as Hansik, but is applicable all over the world. He aims to lead a brand new K-food wave by changing more than half of School Food's menu of some 70 items into casual Hansik. And tasting your own creation as a chef is probably always one of the best parts.
Even now, I always get involved in managing the store interiors and menu development. Making this and that and tasting everything is the best part.
Hopes are high for the new K-food wave that will be led by School Food.
오늘도 맛있다. 스쿨푸드, 야!
As you mentioned, Minjung, it does look very high-end.
Blooming mari.
We're looking at the blooming mari right there. I guess the name comes from Gimbap.
Yeah, and the names are really peculiar at the same time. They're unique, and the dishes, they come in these high-end looking, really hotel food. So this is not really bunshik anymore. And trust me, I've paid my price, left my wallet empty several times going there. But tell us a little bit more about this.
Right,
the high-end aspect.
Yeah, it was never School Food's intention in the beginning to be a high-class or luxury location. As you saw in the video, they use very high-quality ingredients as well as very talented in-house chefs to create their unique dishes. So, of course, this does raise the price. Some consumers would say that it's a little expensive, especially for, traditional Korean snack foods, but School Food would counter that it doesn't want to compromise quality of the ingredients or the flavor for price. It's this forward thinking that has actually led consumers to see it not only as a place to go for snacks, but to go for a full meal. And it's also caused quite a trend in high-class premium bunshik locations across Korea, too.
Are we just going to look at the food, or are we going to
feel free to
enjoy
try
the
some.
food?
This is the cream tteokbokki,
That's
a
right.
version of tteokbokki.
Look at that.
It's a fusion dish for sure, yeah.
Really thinking outside the box, I think. You think of tteokbokki as being something spicy and red, but like a cream tteokbokki, it's really innovative.
And people love it.
Yeah, well, regular tteokbokki can be a little bit spicy for some people too, so to have an alternative like that is great.
And they usually give some mayonnaise for this blooming mari when you go to the stores. I've went to
dip it in, yeah.
For you, sir?
I'll try some.
Okay, I'll try this later on.
We have the drink also.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Wow, anyhow.
There you go, we got the whole menu right here.
The fact that they were able to go abroad and expand overseas is quite amazing in a short period of time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of people overseas who try it say that the thing that appeals to them about it is that it's different from the regular Korean food they're used to. As we know, both tourists to Seoul and people overseas who want to try Korean food, they often go for the standard bulgogi or, bokkeumbap or gimbap as well. But this is a different take on the bunshik food. So people overseas are now enjoying what a lot of people in Korea see as casual snacks as well. And with the twist that School Food puts on it, making it a bit more high class, a bit more luxury, and fusion as well, people are definitely enjoying it a lot. And a lot of the sauces are made in Korea and then shipped overseas for the overseas locations to make sure you get the same flavor experience you do at the restaurants right here in Seoul.
And it's not hard to find these tteokbokki or gimbap places with luxurious interiors and in the Gangnam or Cheongdam area. Why is it that customers like this so much, this high-end fusion bunshik products and dishes?
Yeah, well, after the success of School Food, there has been a crop of these sort of premium bunshik locations that have opened up in trendy areas such as Hongdae and Gangnam and Apgujeong, as you mentioned. And some of the prices can be as much as 5,000 to 10,000 won for a kimbap roll, which seems very high. But, you know, according to experts, a lot of people these days are concerned with health and want high quality products. So high quality ingredients, of course, leads to being better for you. And this in turn leads to people willing to pay a little bit of a premium price for a premium product. And I mean, if you guys haven't tried this at home and you're visiting Korea or you find an overseas location, definitely recommend you check it out. And as you can attest, it is quite tasty.
Everything looks pretty.
It does, yeah.
And I love how it's just bite-sized, the gimbap. Usually it's a little big for small children and also women with small mouths, I suppose, to gobble up the whole piece.
Yeah.
But then this is just the perfect size. Look at this.
Yeah, the way it's
One
arranged too with the black
bite-size.
rice and the different ingredients, it's definitely much different from your average kimbap
And it
experience.
tastes better when you dip it in the sauce.
Oh, wow, that's a new recipe right there.
Hey, why don't you try that out? This is the Jinju recipe.
All right.
Well, you usually dip kimbap in the tteokbokki sauce, right? The traditional one. So this is the fusion style of that.
Okay, well, thank you, Jesse, for the information today.
Happy to bring you these tasty treats from school food.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
And of course, speaking of striking gold, Park In-mi certainly struck gold over the weekend, and she's now closing in on Stacey Lewis for the top ranking in women's golf. Now, the five-time tour major winner who recently won the 2014 Wegmans LPGA Classic moved up a spot in the latest world rankings and has surpassed Lydia Ko for the #2 ranking. Now, Park, who began the season as the top-ranked female golfer in the world, just trailed Stacey Lewis and is gaining ground in the race to the CME Globe as well. And now moving over to the men's and women's Korean national football team set to compete in the upcoming Incheon Asian Games. Now on Tuesday, the top seeds were announced and both teams were given the top seeds for the tournament. As for the men's team, they were given the top seed along with Japan, the UAE, Iran, North Korea, Uzbekistan, Oman, and Thailand, while the women's team were seeded along with Japan and North Korea. The men's tournament will consist of 30 nations, while the women's tournament will feature just 11. Meanwhile, the group stage drawing will take place on Thursday in Incheon. And speaking of the Incheon Asian Games, the entry for the upcoming games in September has been finalized, and we're expecting a pretty big crowd this year. The organizing committee announced on Tuesday that 45 nations, including North Korea, will be competing in the Asian Games this year, with a total of 9,757 athletes set to take part in Incheon. Of the 45 nations, China will have the most number of athletes with 899, while South Korea will have 831 athletes. Meanwhile, North Korea will take part in 14 events with 150 athletes in September. And now moving over to some Tuesday night KBO action, as the Samsung Lions and the Kia Tigers were rained out last night, but the Hanwha Eagles beat the Lotte Giants 10-7, with the Doosan Bears rallying to beat the SK Wyverns 12-6. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the two rivals square off as the LG Twins take on the Nexen Heroes. And now going into game here, bottom of the first inning, Park Byung-ho, and holy cow, a two-run shot, number 40 on the season, as he becomes a sixth Korean slugger to hit 40 in a single season. Meanwhile, second inning, more from Nexen. This time, Park Dong-won with an RBI single to left makes it 3-0 before Lee Tae-keun grounds one to short, but an E6 brings home Munuram, and it's now 4-0. But here come the LG Twins in the third. Chung Sung-hoon deep to left field, a two-run shot, and it's 4-2. Not done yet. Park Young-taek this time, and there it goes. Got another two-run shot, and we're tied 4-4. Fast forward to the sixth inning, game tied 5-5. Oh Ji-hwan RBI single to center, and the LG Twins take the lead 6-5 before adding an insurance run in the ninth inning as they come back to win this one 7-5. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
I know Young Kim's been looking forward to this segment.
Sure, I
for the
have.
longest time.
Personalized transportation. We're going to be looking at some electric scooters today.
I'm actually quite excited about this one too. I just
The moment she walked in the studio, I was like, oh, it's so pretty.
And it has
Very
a door
pretty.
with it.
Right, exactly. Angela Park and Peter Bint will show us what those items are. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I am kind of all by my lonesome because I'm still waiting for Peter to get here.
Don't worry, I'm not late, am I?
Aren't you a little big?
I'm a little bit scared actually about Peter's driving skills.
Okay, I'm going to take it out of the way of Angie. Sorry, let me go backwards
He's
here.
blocking my shot
I'm
here.
pretty good.
You're a terrible driver.
Okay, here we go.
Peter's been trying to practice this morning, but we're very limited in terms of studio space. But as he clearly demonstrated, we cannot hide today's focus for hot items. We're looking at scooters. Peter, you're late.
There I am. No. It's the scooter's fault, not mine, I promise.
But it's scooters, right? But electric
Yes,
scooters.
that's right. Okay, so I've got up here a very eco-friendly three-wheeled scooter behind me, okay?
Oh, right. We're hiding this one,
Yes,
huh?
we are indeed. Let me come over here. It's the three-wheeled one from Songji. It's called Three Wing, and as you're probably aware, normal scooters have two wheels, right?
Yes, that's right. So it is different. But I mean, this is all great to focus on electric scooters because this is a market that's been on the rise. So we think only cars and buses are electric, but we can think smaller scale so it's more affordable and eco-friendly.
Not just for public transportation, right? For individuals as well. And this Songji 3-Wing, what's great about it is they set the speed limit to around 25 kilometers per hour. You do need a license then, but you don't need to register it like a car.
Okay.
But if you're elderly or disabled, they set the limit to just 20 kilometers per hour, and then you don't even need a driving license. You can just take this away.
So you can take out that extra step of having to make your way down to get that license,
Exactly.
right? Now, as our MCs mentioned, it does have a very unique look. It's quite kind of trendy looking almost.
Yeah, it's got this windshield at the front that keeps you sheltered from the rain, and the canopy going over the top. It's all connected together. And this is kind of the convertible version. The one I was in is completely boxed in if you shut the windows. Great for any adverse weather. This is maybe your summer stroller type, I think. Right?
I see. So we have the look. Now, in terms of, I'm looking at all the little gadgets and gizmos, but there's a bumper in the front I noticed as well.
Sure. There's bumpers at the front and the back. There's two thick rear wheels. The reason it's got three wheels is for stability. So if you don't have a driver's license, you don't want to be on two wheels. You know, it's easy to topple over.
Falling over,
but that's
right.
not going to happen in this scooter at all. It's totally safe.
So it is safe, meaning, okay, I got the okay. I want to try actually get in here. It looks kind of
Take
tight.
a seat. No.
Okay.
I'm sure you haven't put on that much weight recently.
Hey. All right, so I'm in. I'm going to turn the engine on. Oh, I'm scared.
Okay, and you see, right, you can't see it from out there, but inside there's a little dashboard on the handles.
Yeah.
And it shows your speed, it shows the distance you can go, shows the batteries, you've got the wipers going on there. Toot the horn just to show everyone. There you go. See, horn works and everything. And it's got all the info you need on that little dashboard there, right?
Oh, wow. So it's electric, obviously, so we should focus on the power. I'm looking at, this must be the charger. How do you charge it?
That's right. The charger box here is very small, right? So you plug it one end under the seat, yeah? And the other end, if you see here, it's just a normal plug. So any 220 volt outlet.
In your home, right?
Yeah, you don't need the special electric car charging points at all. And you can just put this, at your home. I'll show you. And it makes, it's slightly noisy. It's got a little fan in there.
How do you get it into your home? That's the question.
This is true.
Extension cord. Okay.
I think in most car parks now in the apartment, they also have some electrical outlets like
That's
this.
true.
So it's very easy and convenient. Yeah.
So how long does it take to charge and how far can we go is the main question?
It's not long at all. It's 4 hours to charge completely.
Wow.
But then, once you've charged it, you can go for 6 hours and up to 80 kilometers as well. It's a pretty good distance, right? And it goes up to 30 kilometers, but they factory set the speed limit depending on whether you've got a license and things like that. And it can go backwards and forwards, as you saw me attempting to do in the studio.
All right, so obviously definitely shorter distance, but the perk of this is you don't need to get a separate license for it.
Exactly.
And you forgot to mention the windshield wipers that it comes with.
Oh, I thought we showed you guys that.
it's perfect. It looks even cooler with that, right?
All right, great protection, great electric scooter, definitely slightly different design. I guess mine, I also have an electric scooter to introduce, but it does look a little bit more conventional on the surface.
It looks like a normal scooter. I'm not a
Yes.
scooter expert, but it does look like the ones that I've seen on the streets before.
So today, the focus here, this is from Saekyong EV. This is the iconic 5. Now, the key to this scooter, on the outside, it does look like your average scooter, but it's very different. It has a patented technology patented by Saekyong EV, and this is called the CVT technology.
CVT, well, you can't leave us hanging like that,
All
Angie.
right.
What is CVT?
CVT stands for Continuously Variable Transmission, and it's we did catch that shot right there, but it's at the bottom. But basically, this means that there are 2 pulleys with a belt that's wrapped around it. Now, as the distance between the 2 pulleys change, then the width rotation of the belt changes as well. This changes the ratio, the switch to ratio, gear ratio that is. And also in terms of driving conditions, that can change because it does have automatic gear shift capabilities, but this increases energy efficiency and of course performance. But there's also a generator on top of that, and what that basically means, it allows for automatic gear shift just in case the count of the motor rotations drop.
Okay, so most scooters before that, especially electric ones, didn't have that kind of function.
No.
So it meant that going up an incline or the speed was totally dependent on
That's
the power output to the wheels. So I guess for this one, it can go faster than other electric ones and go up steeper hills. No?
That's right. And speaking of speed, this bad boy
Yeah.
can go up to 100 kilometers per hour.
100 kilometers?
100 kilometers
That's
per
30
hour.
kilometers.
Yep, exactly. So I think I win today, Peter.
You do win in speed, yes.
But in terms of not only speed, but it also can take on, it has a 40% incline capability. This scooter is basically the best in its class in terms of speed and quickness. So a 27-degree incline, no problem. You can take it on.
That is fantastic. Okay, I want to get on this bad
Yes,
boy.
go,
You said
go.
100 kilometers, so...
Yeah, please don't turn it on and go anywhere, but you can at least sit on it.
No,
How's
I'm going
that?
to do it. I'm going to turn it on, Angie. And I'm not going to go anywhere in the studio, but this
Okay.
also has a fancy dashboard as well. It's
Yes.
got lots of different colors on there, unlike mine, which didn't have any colors.
No, so I win again. But in terms of how it works, I'm kind of competitive,
Yes,
as you can
it's
see.
okay.
But in terms of how it works, you see the 2 hydraulic brakes. It's
Yeah.
pretty much standard in terms of that. There
Okay.
is a very low-centered design, so for your convenience. And in the back, we have a little carrier to put stuff in, right?
For all my handbags and makeup, yes.
That's exactly right.
And we've lifted it off the ground, so hopefully, I'm just going to show you how quick this wheel can
Yeah,
turn at the
go
back.
ahead.
If we can get a close-up of that once I rev it a little bit. Here we go. If
There we
look
go,
down at the
focusing.
wheel-
And you see the
pretty
CVT
far.
right at the wheel, right?
Sure.
There we go.
And just pull down on the brake. Yeah, it feels like it's got more power than the other. And my favorite thing of all, it's got a basket at the front. I always wanted a bicycle.
You've always wanted a basket. Is that your dream?
You put like flowers
in it too.
Yeah, it's lovely.
You can deliver it for your wife.
Yeah, I would love this one actually. For the younger generation, I think this is more suitable.
It's speedier,
right?
obviously,
Yeah,
right?
I like it. I feel good.
I think we're going to get complaints from the bottom floor of our studio today.
It's not as important as career today.
So there you go. We're being eco-friendly and, of course, being able to transport to wherever we need to go. Short distances.
Yeah. What do you think? You're in the market for one of those?
Definitely sold on that one, the white one that
You like
Peter
the
rode
design.
in. Oh, I
It's so
love it.
cute,
I love
right?
it.
It has sort of like that Vespa Italian old
Kind of a
scooter
vintagey
design.
look,
Yeah,
right?
Does it come in pink?
Well, you can paint it. Pink.
Okay.
All right, well, sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that does it for this Wednesday edition of Korea Today.
It's gonna rain today in parts of Korea, so make sure to carry an umbrella with
All
you.
right, carry one of those out there, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Thank you for watching. Bye.